Hello everyone. Hope all of you are very fine. So, my today's topic is A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. So, let us begin the poem. Let me introduce the poem to you with an introduction. Okay. So, what is the theme, or what would be the best way to introduce the poem? Uh, in this poem, the poet shows his reader that a tiger is better suited to live in the wild rather than living in a zoo. In the wild, it can roam freely and hunt as when it requires food. It can approach human habitation and intimidate its inhabitants, but will not harm them unless it is provoked. On the other hand, in the zoo, its radius of a movement is very small. It feels like a prisoner in a jail. It is fed by the zoo authorities, and so it unlearns how to live by itself and is made lazy. It does not appreciate humans coming to look at it. It cannot even sleep at night because it is angry at being caged. All in all, the tiger lives an unnatural and unhappy life in the zoo. So this is the introduction of the poem. So let us start the poem. A Tiger in the Zoo. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. So this is the first stanza. So what the poet tries to say that the tiger in the zoo works in the limited space. A tiger in the zoo works in the limited space provided it will cage. It takes a few steps. There are stripes on his body which are quite prominent. Its paws are soft like velvet. No noise is produced when it walks on his pads of velvet. The tiger is silent but in rage or anger. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage. So here the tiger is being caged, okay, and he can just walk freely in a short space. He can walk in a short space, in a limited space. Okay, on pads of velvet quiet. On pads of velvet quiet means his paws are very soft, right? In his quiet rage, he is being caged. The tiger is being caged in the cage, but he cannot express his rage or anger. But the rage or anger is in himself, is him. Okay. He should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through the long grass near the water hole where the plum deer pass. So, he should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through the long grass near the water hole where plum deer pass. Here, lurking. What do you mean by the word lurking? Lurking means hidden or waiting, or he has been waiting for an ambush. Ambush means to prey something. Prey something means to eat something. Okay, he was waiting for his prey. Prey, prey. Sliding through a long grass near the water hole where plum deer pass. Now, the poet suggests that the cage is not the proper place for the tiger. It is not his natural habitat. The tiger in the cage is a victim of human cruelty. Usually, tigers are found sitting under some bushes or a long grass near the stream or water hole. As soon as they see their prey like deer coming there to drink water, they slide silently through the grass and kill them. The poet wants to convey that this tiger should be there in the forest, its natural habitat. So this is the natural habitat. Okay, means sliding through the sliding. What do you mean by the word sliding? Sliding means that that smoothly walking or the smooth going. Okay, Rongas near the water hole, and he was just waiting beside the river side, right, where the plump deer was. Plump means hefty or the healthy deer. So he was just waiting to catch up the deer near the water hole or the river side, whatever it may be. So the to poet and the poet is very clear in his concept that tiger's place is not in the cage. Its place is its original place is the in the forest or a natural or any kind of natural settings. It can be a riverside, it can be beside riverside, or it can be anywhere. Okay. Now come to the third stanza, that is, he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. So what does it mean? It means that he should be snarling. What do you mean by the word snarling? Snarling means that an action of growling aggressively with bared teeth. Okay, means the sound, the roaring of a tiger. So he should be snarling around the houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. So the poet proceeds further, giving another suggestion that the tiger should be sitting at jungle's edge, is close contact of a village, that is adjacent to a village. It should be terrorizing the people passing that way by slowing its sharp teeth, baring its claws, and producing low sound of anger. So, and the word fangs means, what does the word mean? Fangs means large sharp tooth. Fangs mean, there is a word called fangs, means large sharp tooth. Okay. So he was waiting for someone, and he just used to terrorize all the villagers with his claws and his teeth. Now, but he locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind the bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. So the poet here expresses deep sympathy at the sight or the unpleasant situation of the tiger that is imprisoned in the cell made of concrete, mixed material like cement, sand, small pieces of stone, water. Okay, it cannot come out of it because strong bars fixed at the concrete cell stops him. Thus, the poet says that the tiger's strength is locked behind the bars. The tiger shows no interest in looking at the visitors. Rather, he keep on stalking or walking in angry or proud manner in the limited space of cage. So here, what the poet is mainly trying to convey is that this is not the proper place. The concrete cells behind the bars. This is not the proper place for a wild animal like tiger. Okay, stalking in the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. So he is not happy at all. The wild animals is fit to be in the wild environment. Okay, it is fitted to be in wild environment. It is not like a home-like environment. Home-like environment means the cage, the buildings of materials, bars, etc. Okay, and the tiger used to ignoring the visitors, right? The tiger just ignoring the visitor. Who the hell are you? Okay, just like that. The tiger is thinking like that. Who the hell are you? So the tiger is in the very miserable condition. The tiger is in very miserable condition. His condition is very much grim, and he just getting the unpleasant things and unpleasant thoughts day by day, right? Now, what is the next stanza is that he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The poet again takes the reader to the cage, where the tiger is sitting in the cage and feeling unpleasant and restless. He hears the sound created by patrolling cars of the zoo authorities. Patrolling car means the sound of the up and downs of the cars. Okay, that the car just moving round and round to see whether an animal is out or not, okay, is out there for praying or not. So this is the whatever he may see, that a patrolling of cars and the stars also, he just hear the patrolling, he just hear the noise of the patrolling cars. And what is the most important thing is that he stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. What is that? That is, what is brilliant eyes? The tiger has dreamed of being free in his brilliant eyes. It sees the stars that have also been described as brilliant with the same eyes. It stares at the brilliant stars with its brilliant eyes, thinking about how beautiful its life could be in the forest. The repetitiveness of these words gives a wonderful effect of the poem. So the brilliant eyes, brilliant stars, these are the repetitive words. What? So the tiger just staring at the gazing at the sky, that and he was just thinking that yes, my life would be very beautiful. Oh my God, if I were in the forest now, a wild environment, in a wild environment. So this is my actual place, not in the cage. So that is the main discussion of the poem, okay, that the Leslie Norris aptfully and very adeptly just he just describe all the things. So this is the poem for you. And another thing is that there is some rhyming scheme. What are the rhyming scheme? That is, a, what is the look, stripes, cage, quite rage, stripe, cage, quite rage, A, B, C, B. A, stripes, quite, there is no repetitive sounds, stripes, quite, but cage, rage, B, B, right? Now shadow, grass, hole, pass. Now shadow A, grass B, hole C, and pass B. So B, B, grass and pass, B, B, and shadow, hole, there is another just their ending is not rhyming. So the rhyming scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B. What is A, B, C, B? And another thing is that if we take it for granted that some figure of speech like personification, the poetic device is used to bestow human qualities on something that is not human. In this poem, the poet uses the device of personification with respect to the tiger that is mentioned in the title of the poem. He refers to the tiger as it, but as he. So here the tiger, which is not a human being, he is given to a quality of a human being. Okay, so this is called personification, right? What is the metaphor? Then personification, that the tiger is being compared to a human, so it is called personification. And metaphor, what is the poetic device? Is the metaphor is used when covert a comparison between two different things or ideas. In this poem, the poet uses the device of a metaphor in the third line of the first stanza, where he compares the pads of a tiger's feet with velvet, since both are soft and smooth when touched. What is the point of comparison? That is softness. That is on the pads of quiet velvet. Okay. So this is called the first stanza of the first third line of a first stanza. That is on pads of velvet quiet. So velvet. So his pad is compared to a velvet. So as velvet is soft, his paws is very soft. Okay. So this is the poetic device. So this is for you. Thank you very much.